My name is Jordan, and I am back, and I am going to be talking to you in our second session, which is our opportunities for wellness and well-being from our Hope introductory course. Today, we'll delve into the crucial aspects of feeling safe, experiencing joy, building connections, and serving others. And so, we're going to start today by understanding the foundation of well-being, feeling safe in our bodies. But before I do that, I want to start with the scripture, Isaiah 41:10, and it reads, "So do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand." And again, that's Isaiah 41:10. So feeling safe is so important. So your body, like I said before in the first session, your amygdala is scanning, am I safe? Am I safe? And just because you feel anxiousness doesn't mean that you have some kind of condition or something. That's totally natural. A God-given thing to help you stay in safety. The tricky thing is that now our body perceives physical and emotional threats as the same. And in our society today, there's a lot of emotional threats. And so we've got to learn to see that emotional threat is activating our systems and being able to calm that down so we don't stay in that fight or flight, and we can go in what is called rest and digest. And the one major area that's going to help you do that is your vagus nerve. Your vagus nerve is a powerhouse. And when you think of anything about feeling safe, feeling calm and rested, you want to think, how do I activate this vagus nerve? And so there's many ways to activate your vagus nerve, and we're going to talk about some today. But just remember, if you don't remember anything, how can I activate my vagus nerve is going to be your key to rest and digest. So safety is a key to activating our nervous system for rest and healing. To achieve this, we'll explore the power of the vagus nerve. Breathing, dancing, singing, and humming are all ways to activate it. And the amazing thing that I heard someone say not too long ago, that these are all things in the Bible. Like, I love it because God has planned for us. Everything that I'm learning from the science, from just other, YouTube, whatever, about our bodies, how we can calm them, how we can be healed. I go and I look and I'm like, it's already in the Bible. Like, I love be transformed by the renewing of your mind. God already knew. We only realized it in 2010, but God already knew that our brains can change. We can renew our minds. We can transform them by what we do. And it's really about experiences, and it's about practice. The more we practice the new thing, the more we'll be able to change it. And then those neural networks become our default networks instead of the anxious, negative, fearful networks that we, there is a rut. For me, I'm speaking for myself. There is a rut there. And so it's easy for me to fall back there. So I have to practice and practice and practice this new way of renewing my mind and this new way of thinking and doing, so that I can, lessen those ruts. Those can fill in a little bit, and I can start some new pathways, and those become my default because I do them most often. So something that you want to remember is to embrace glimmers. This is actually from polyvagal theory, and it talks about glimmers because you hear about threats or triggers. You hear about triggers, and glimmers are basically times when your body feels safe. And so noticing those and sitting with those more and more. And a lot of times you will hear about what I mentioned before in the last session, that your amygdala, it takes a quarter of a second to realize the threat, and that's good. It's quick. But it will take 20 seconds to realize that something is positive. So when you notice that you feel safe, or you see a beautiful sunrise, or someone says something sweet to you, whatever it is, sit in that for 20 seconds. So that's why it's important when you give hugs. You want to give a hug that's 20 seconds long, because that actually activates that, everything is good with the world feeling. And so that's important. And that's something we all can do. Another thing to do if you don't have anyone that's hugging you for that particular day or moment, you can put your hand on your chest right here. Doing that is like giving your brainstem, like your survival brain, a hug, right? And so by doing that, taking some deep breaths and doing that for 20 seconds, it releases oxytocin, and which basically your amygdala has oxytocin receptors, which is going to be that calming, that bonding, that connection feeling. And then that is going to be activated by just you placing your hand there, doing some deep breaths, deep breaths. Another thing I heard one time is someone said, do that, but then also repeat, I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved. I'm okay, I'm safe, I'm loved. And do that until you feel that downshift, that you're good, okay? So moving along. So we want to practice different things to help reset our nervous system. Like I said, breathing is huge. Another thing is your imagination. We a lot of times use our imagination for bad, to scare us silly. Thinking about all the bad things that can happen and just be focusing on that. But it's important to kind of start thinking about using your imagination for good. And so one way to use your imagination for good is to visualize a safe place. You may not always be able to be at the beach. For me, I will speak of the beach because the beach is my safe place and I love that. Or wherever your safe place is. It could be a room in your house, the cozy. It could be the backyard. It could be, in a blanket and a beanbag, whatever. Or it could just be with friends around the kitchen table. But whatever your safe place is, it's good to think about it. And you want to engage all the senses. What does it smell like? What do you see? What do you hear? Like all of those pieces so that it can really get activated in your brain. And you want to think about that often, especially when you need it. But when you think about it, even when you don't need it, when you do need it, it's easier to access. Any of these things that I'm mentioning, we want to practice them, because if you don't practice them and then you need it, it's going to be super hard to pull that up because you don't have that neural pathway, at all formed. It's not there. So you want to make sure that you are able to have that, worked out a little bit. So you want to practice definitely. And so what are some other ones? So visualizing a safe place, touch is amazing. And we talked a little bit about the hug and the hand on the chest, but also I love having like warmth, like, having things that you can warm up in the microwave or whatever to add warmth to your bed. Or even, this is an amazing thing, is putting the heating pad in your bed, turning it on and letting it heat your bed. Then when you're ready to get in the bed, you take the heating pad off, turn it off, and you get into this warm, cozy bed. Most amazing. Okay, this is most amazing. But also like weighted blankets, and they now have weighted animals and things like that. Those are really good to help with that touch as well. And some other things that I can think of related to just really helping to reset your nervous system are words. Like words are really important, and you can do affirmations and things like that, having those things around. I know I have affirmations on my watch or on your phone, just things that really lift you up and build you up. It might be just a word that helps you bring you back to calm. Those are amazing to have in your space, because you have to realize that self-talk, there's over I think they say 70,000 thoughts we have a day. It's something crazy. And the majority of those are negative. And we know that self-talk is a big issue for most of us. And so we want to start kind of getting a rein on that. I know when I was practicing doing meditation every night for a season, I began to be able to hear a little bit more what's going on up there. And I was like, really? I'm not thinking I'm thinking about negative. I'm over here exercising or doing something. And then I'm realizing, oh, those are crazy thoughts. Those are not okay. Or those are negative thoughts. And so and it helps you to kind of hear what's going on up there and kind of getting that under control. But then something you want to remember about self-talk is compassion. So basically you want to think about, how would I talk to a friend? You know, if they were going through this or having this issue, what would I say to them? And you want to talk to yourself that way. You want to have self-compassion. And so that's a really important. And talk to yourself like you would talk to a friend. Another one is nature. God is amazing. He's so amazing. And he's got it all, set up for, there's studies where there's studies about how bird songs help you to, go into rest and digest, help you to relax. The waves, or I'm at the beach, so the waves, or just being outside, and the birds and the wind and the sights, the green, the blue, that all helps you to relax and reset your nervous system. So that's a good one. And then one that's really important is, if you can't remember any of these, you want to just pause. Pause for 90 seconds. And I say 90 seconds because that gives you a little time to kind of assess what's going on. And then if you're able to name the emotion that you're having, naming it is huge, because what happens is neurotransmitters are kind of like activated out, and it helps calm that amygdala down just by naming, I'm feeling angry right now. I'm really sad, whatever it is. And so being able to name that emotion is like a great starting place to kind of help to start regulating that nervous system and getting yourself calmed down. If you have trouble finding, like, I don't talk about emotions in that way. What I don't even know what I'm feeling. Going online and looking up like an emotion wheel, and seeing the different emotions, and you start thinking about it sometimes and using that to kind of expand your emotional vocabulary, I guess. But that's one way to do it. Okay, so those are some ways to help you feel safe and start resetting your nervous system. Another important key is experiencing joy. And the Bible says the joy of the Lord is our strength, and that we can have, being in God's presence, there's joy. And so it's important to do that. I was listening to this preacher, and it was just talking about around Christmas, so many people were saying that they didn't feel the Christmas feeling or whatever. And I was feeling that for a number of reasons. One being that I earlier had lost my brother in August the 26th of 2023. And so many mixed emotions, and just trying to process that and process life and the grief. And grief is, I don't like it, and I had been studying it because I was thinking about it as it relates to loss of what you thought your life should be like, or what you thought you should be doing. And so I was studying it around those types of things, not knowing that I was going to experience the loss of my brother. And that studying it was really a godsend, because it helped me to know that the things that I was feeling, totally normal. I mean, and the thing that I dislike about grief, I think so much, besides the fact it's grief and it's loss, is that it's unpredictable. Like, you could be totally fine and hear something, see something, and then you're just sucked down. And I'm like, yikes. And that's just, it's hard. But through it all, trust God. And for me, thinking about Joshua, even now, it's about, sharing. He was love, like the things that he did, the love that he shared, even at his service, it was packed out because of all the people he had touched. And I want to continue his legacy, make sure people continue to know of him and what he's done. And of course, take care of his babies, his family. But during Christmas, feeling all those different emotions for many different reasons, the one thing that was able to help me through is to look for the joy. In this moment, where is some joy? Okay, hang out there. Okay, there's some joy. I'm going to hang out there. And it was amazing how it helped me to get through that time. So moving on to joy, it says gratitude is a powerful tool. And I think that's the key. Even when you think about perspective, you can change your perspective by thinking about what are some things I'm thankful for. You could be like, everything's horrible, but you're like, wait a minute, I'm here, I'm doing this, I got that. Oh, I'm good, And so gratitude is really important. There's actual studies where if you do that like every day, let's say it every night before bed, you think about 3 things that you're grateful for, then over time, within I think it was like 6 weeks maybe, you just have an overall more positive, well-being, outlook on life. And so that who doesn't need that by just saying 3 things you're thankful for? One thing that I decided to do is on my phone with all the alarms is at night, put that in as one of my reminders so that I could just remember to just quickly think, what are 3 things I'm thankful for today? And then also some people write them down, and that may help you as well. Let's see. Kind of was talking about that. I'm kind of all over the place just chatting, but I love this because it's just like having a conversation. I love talking about this stuff because it's helped me so much. And I'm like, more people need to know. And so I'm going to chat about it, see what happens. So the next one is connection and community. And this one I'm really, passionate about as well, because your nervous system really uses the fact that if, for example, if a threat comes up and your nervous system feels like you have enough social resources or people to help support you, it affects you less than if you feel like you're all alone. And that's amazing. There's studies that I've been doing with my work related to teens and having a trusted adult that show that if you if you have a trusted adult, a teen has a trusted adult, even when there's trauma, there's issues, they're going to fare much better than if they didn't have that trusted adult, as well as all the things that we're looking at doing, helping with bullying prevention, suicide prevention, substance use prevention, grades, all of that stuff is positively affected if they have a trusted adult. So to me, it seems like that's where we should focus our attention, getting these students and getting all of us. It really is not just for students, because when you look at the data, it's the connection and community that we all need. So having your crew, cultivating your crew is so important. And having not a good number of people, because you don't really need an entourage necessarily. And sometimes too many can be bad. But I know that during the time with Joshua, it was important that there was multiple people, different groups or whatever, because there's some people that they were going through their own stuff, or they just didn't have time in this particular part of their life, which sounds really bad, felt really bad, but like you need different people that can support you at different times. And so having a good group of people that know the Lord and that's gonna encourage you in the Lord, and in practical things, or buy you food or sit with you. That was so powerful for me during this time with Joshua as well. The week after, had already had a meeting to meet with a friend scheduled, and they were like, if you want to still do it, fine. If you need to be with your family, I totally understand. I'm like, let's do it. And wow, I was a mess. But they just sit there in the emotions, and they're like, I'm not afraid of strong emotions. You're okay, and just having somebody to be with you. I know sometimes we want to fix it. We want to have all the things to say, but sometimes it's just about being with. You may not even talk about the issue. You may go eat and laugh while watching the movie or whatever, a movie. Sometimes that's all it takes, just someone to be with. And so remember that. It's so hard. We get scared, especially around hard things and grief and loss, and we don't know what to do. So a lot of times we don't do anything because we don't want to make a mistake or make it worse. But being with, there's power in that. And just being comfortable with the silence and the uncomfortableness of it is important skill. And all you just sit there, make sure they have food and snacks. Snacks are always good, right? And probably should be healthy snacks. Sometimes, little treats nice. But be with is really, really important when we're coming to talking about connection and community. It really makes a difference. And then finally, serving others. You'll be surprised at how, if you can, I was listening to Dr. Anita Phillips, and she was talking about, when you're looking at your heart and you have those intense feelings that you're working through, trying to name and feel, also looking for feelings that are positive, like faith, joy, happiness. And if you can start cultivating those feelings as well, it's huge. You cultivate that hope, and then that gets you going towards your purpose, which a lot of times is, how can I help somebody or share my story with someone else, which is the next one coming up, the P in purpose. But it's amazing how that's healing to you and to others. So I encourage you to consider that as well. So, okay, so we are done for today with O, which is opportunities for well-being and wellness. But thank you for joining me in this session. Remember, the first H was healing the heart, and that's where we need to start. Going to God, Lord, this is hurting, and I don't know what to do with it, but I trust you. I bring it to you. Heal that there, heal that in me. And then opportunities for well-being. We just need to learn to start being safe in our bodies and using different things that we need to practice, because if we don't practice, it's gonna be hard to activate when we need them. And then also experiencing joy and connecting with others and serving others. And then we're about to go to purpose, which is so important because we all have things to do here. And so we want to be healthy and whole so that we can carry out those things that we were created to carry out. So I'm going to leave it there. But thank you so much for going along with this journey. I pray that you get something, even if it's just one little morsel, that you get something that you can take with you and help you to begin your journey as we move forward. So here we go. So next up, P, purpose.